Ladies and gentlemen, Saif Ali Khan is recovering at the hospital, is stable and out of danger, has been shifted out of the ICU, should be discharged in 2 to 3 days, is what the doctors are saying. Well, while a lot remains unanswered about the attempt at life and burglary at Saif Ali Khan's house, the doctor who treated Saif Ali Khan spoke to the media today and has said the star walked into the Lilavati hospital like a lion and even refused to use a stretcher, calling him a real hero. The doctor also said Saif Ali Khan entered the hospital with his 7-8-year-old son, referring to Taimur. And the doctor also said Saif Ali Khan was soaked in blood when he arrived in the hospital. Well, this is quite distinct from what the initial reports had come in about Saif Ali Khan being rushed to the hospital in an auto rickshaw by his eldest son, Ibrahim. Well, in this case, it's not only the doctor who is saying that Saif Ali Khan came into the hospital walking like a lion with his son, Taimur, but even Mirror Now has spoken to the driver of the auto rickshaw who rushed him to the hospital. That's something that we'll get in a short while from now. We'll play it as soon as we can play it out to you. In fact, I'm being told that it is there on our screen. So first, let's just listen in what the auto rickshaw driver has had to say.
After Saif Ali Khan was attacked at his residence, he was taken to Lilavati hospital with the help of auto rickshaw. We are currently joined by the auto rickshaw driver, who in fact was the person who took him to Lilavati hospital. We'll speak with him. Sir, क्या बताएंगे, क्या ये घटना थी? आपके रिक्शा में सैफ अली खान जी कब बैठे और आपने उनको कहाँ पे छोड़ा?
वो अपना जैसे अपना सदगुरु के बिल्डिंग है उनका, उनसे जैसे कोई बुलाता है रात को 2:30-3 बजे की बात है, यानी कि 2:45 या 3 बजे की बात है, तो मैं उनको रुकाता हूँ। मेरे को नहीं दिख रहा कि ये सैफ अली खान है, तो एक बॉडी से आदमी को खून से लथपथ है, उनको मैं देखता हूँ, तो मैं सोचा कोई थोड़ा कोई व्याख्या हुआ है, मारामारी हुआ होगा बिल्डिंग के अंदर। तो मैं देखता हूँ तो वो रिक्शे में बैठते हैं, तो उसके बाद हॉस्पिटल, किनको हॉस्पिटल लेके जाओ, तो उनको हॉस्पिटल छोड़ता हूँ मैं। तो वो खुद जैसे उतरते हैं तो उसके बाद खुद अपना इंट्रोडक्शन देते हैं कि मैं एक सैफ अली खान हूँ, फटाक से स्टाफ को बुलाओ, डॉक्टर लोगों को, मेरा ट्रीटमेंट चालू कराओ। तब मुझे पता चलता है कि सैफ अली खान है।
कौन कौन लोग बैठे थे रिक्शा में सैफ के साथ?
हाँ, एक बच्चा था और एक उनके साथ में कोई एक यंग आदमी था, उनके रिलेशन में कुछ होगा, पहचान का होगा, जो भी होगा, अब मुझे नहीं मालूम उनमें क्या रिलेशन में होगा। हाँ।
क्या वो महिला थी उनके साथ या कोई पुरुष थे?
दोनों पुरुष थे, दोनों पुरुष थे, एक बच्चा था, एक यंग था।
क्या सैफ बात कर रहे थे, आपसे बात कर रहे थे या उनकी फैमिली में जो भी उनके साथ थे उनसे बात कर रहे थे?
नहीं, खाली वो बच्चे में थोड़ा, जो बच्चा था उनसे हल्की फुल्की बात हुई। जो यंग था उनसे ये पूछा गया, बोला कौन सा हॉस्पिटल जाएंगे, लीलावती जाएंगे या होली फैमिली जाएंगे, तो बोले कि होली फैमिली जाएंगे, लीलावती जाएंगे, तो फिर लीलावती लेके गए।
सैफ रिक्शा में बैठने के बाद साधारण कितने टाइम में आप लीलावती हॉस्पिटल पहुंचे होंगे?
वही 5 से 7 मिनट तक लगा होगा।
उसके साथ ही हम ये भी जानना चाहते हैं कि सैफ जब भी गाड़ी में बैठे थे, रिक्शा में बैठे थे, उनको कहाँ चोट आई थी, क्या नजर है आपको?
इतना मैं ध्यान नहीं दिया, एक तो इधर से लग रहा था ब्लड, इधर से भी था, जब उतरे थे तो पीछे से भी दिखा था, क्योंकि ब्लड पीछे भी था, जबकि मेरे सीट पे इधर जो था ना बैठने का, उधर भी थोड़ा घाव लग गया था।
उसके साथ हमें ये भी बताइए कि आप जब भी गाड़ी से उतरे, रिक्शा से उनको उतरवाया, सैफ हॉस्पिटल किस तरह से गए? क्या हॉस्पिटल से कोई लेने उन्हें स्ट्रेचर आया था या खुद गए?
नहीं, स्ट्रेचर से तो रिक्शे से गए थे, स्ट्रेचर आया था, जो लंबा स्ट्रेचर होता है लेटने का, उस पे आराम से लेट के थोड़ा हाफ डाउन ऐसे बैठ के गए थे, पूरा लेट के नहीं गए थे, इसके घाव लगा था, थोड़ा बैठ के गए थे, अब पूरा सा लग रहा था।
Well, that's the auto rickshaw driver who rushed Saif Ali Khan along with what he calls a young child and a young man in the auto rickshaw to the hospital. But here's what the doctors have been saying. And remember, the doctor really called Saif Ali Khan a real hero who walked in like a lion holding his young child.
सैफ अली साहब का जब हॉस्पिटल आए थे तो मैं वो डॉक्टर था जो उनको फर्स्ट आवर में मिला हूँ। पूरा उनका उसमें ब्लड था, बट ही वॉकड इन लाइक अ लायन एंड ओनली विथ ए स्मॉल चाइल्ड, दैट इज 6-7 साल का उनका जो लड़का है, तैमूर है शायद उसका नाम, हाँ, उसके साथ वो वॉक इन किए हैं विथ सो मच ऑफ दिस। ही इज अ रियल हीरो दैट वे। फिल्मों में हीरोगिरी करना वो सब ठीक है, बट ये घर में आपके ऊपर कोई अटैक हो रहा है एंड आप as a hero you have actually acted and you have come out with such a thing. He is doing presently very well. His parameters have improved. He is being shifted from ICU to a special room for him. Today we will be keeping visitors in check because we want him to take rest.
Well, the doctor, however, has said the actor was very fortunate because he could have sustained a severe injury had the knife gone just any deeper into his back. Meanwhile, on your screen is the 2.5-inch piece of that knife that was removed from his spine after almost a 5-hour-long surgery.
Give us the health update about Mr. Saif Ali Khan.
So, we have seen him today in the morning, and Mr. Saif Ali Khan, the great actor, is back to normal. He is able to walk. He is recovering very well, excellent, and he's quite positive, and he's very happy about his recovery. As per his examination and his able to walk, we have decided to shift him from the ICU to the room. But strictly we have advised him for the rest because of the spinal injury and the surgery which has undergone on the spine and the dural repair because for the CSF or the spinal fluid leaking. Yesterday we have done the surgery for that. For the same reason we have advised him to take bed rest, and that will be done in the room.
Wait, you have also carried the neurosurgery. We'll ask you about his injury. How many stabs and how many injuries were there? Kindly.
Basically, as I had given a press release yesterday, there are 4 major injuries, the 4 wounds. 2 are on the left hand, 1 is in the neck, and the major one which was with the sharp object harboring into the spine or sharp object inside the spine, lodged inside the spine. It was quite deep, touching the dura and almost just short of the spinal cord. The sharp object has been removed, and today his wounds are better, made him walk, and he is being shifted to the
But
room.
the foreign object that was inserted,
So there is a sharp object which we have sent for the forensic analyst.
Meanwhile, it has been over 36 hours since the attempted life on Saif Ali Khan and the attempted burglary gone wrong, where even the 2 nannies were allegedly attacked as they tried to fight off the intruder. The attacker is still on the run, ladies and gentlemen, more than 36 hours since that attempted life. The police have released another CCTV footage of the attacker entering Sadhguru Sharan. That's the official residence of Saif Ali Khan and Kareena Kapoor. The footage from 1:37 a.m. in the morning shows the intruder climbing the stairs with his face covered and was carrying a bag. Just yesterday, there was another CCTV footage released that showed the attacker escaping. And I'm being joined right now by my colleagues Shweta Verma, who's at the Lilavati hospital, as well as Abhishek Avasti, who is at Saif Ali Khan's residence. And also we'll try to speak to Rucha Kandolkar, who's of course with the auto rickshaw driver. All right, I believe Rucha joins us. So let me just go to her first at this point. Rucha joins us at this point. Good evening, Rucha. Thank you very much for joining us. Just one very quick question. You interviewed the auto rickshaw driver. He told us the circumstances in which Saif Ali Khan was rushed to the hospital. He does mention that there was a small child with him and a young man. Do we have any clarity on who these people were?
Well, the child he mentioned is definitely Taimur Ali Khan, who's the middle child of Saif Ali Khan. He was accompanying Saif to the hospital. Even the doctor had mentioned that Taimur was also covered in blood. And the auto driver also mentioned that Saif and Taimur were constantly in conversation. They were having conversation in English. And it would have been very difficult for Taimur to even see his father in this position where he was covered in blood. He was stabbed across his body. There were 6 serious wounds. At the same time, the 7-year-old child, Taimur, was accompanying his father heading towards the Lilavati hospital. The second person that the auto rickshaw driver mentioned was a person that was of similar age of Saif Ali Khan. We were first thinking that Ibrahim was the person who first took Saif to the Lilavati hospital with this auto, but it was some other person that could have been someone from his staff, his chef, or a house help that he had. There were total 11 people in the house of Saif when the incident happened, and like the auto driver mentioned, a woman was coming out of the gate. She was looking for auto. She screamed for auto, and after he heard her, he immediately stopped there. He then waited outside the gate, and even then a video which we saw was surfacing yesterday where Kareena Kapoor is seen worried. She is roaming around an auto. It was the same auto this auto driver had brought, and the auto driver had no idea that who is sitting in his auto, whether it's Saif Ali Khan, whether it's Kareena Kapoor was roaming around his auto. He had no clue until he was taken to hospital. After the admission, he realized that he helped, in fact, Saif Ali Khan, and later he was also questioned by the Mumbai police. His statement is not recorded yet, but we definitely know that there were 2 people accompanying Saif Ali Khan. One of them was his staff, and one the young child, Taimur Ali Khan.
Richa, thank you very much for bringing us that very important interview. I'm also just right now going across to my colleague Shweta Verma, who's outside the Lilavati hospital. Shweta, the doctors today described Saif Ali Khan as a real hero, saying he literally walked into the hospital like a lion, holding on to his 7-8-year-old child. Quite some words coming from a doctor themselves, for that matter. Do we have any update on how he is doing?
That's right. To begin with, the doctor started with the words like he walked like a lion inside the hospital, and he was the first doctor to see Saif Ali Khan in pool of blood. In fact, let me quickly show you the visuals where we are present. This is Lilavati Hospital, as my video journalist Chandan is panning the camera, showing you on the 11th floor. In fact, he's been shifted to the private suite. Now remember, he was on the first floor in ICU, and later on he was shifted to the observation, and now he has been shifted to the same hospital at the 11th floor. And while we understand that during the brief which was given to the media, Dr. Neeraj Uttamani alongside Dr. Nitin Dange, the neurosurgeon who carried out the neurosurgery on Mr. Saif Ali Khan, stated that he is recovering well. He is doing absolutely fine. In fact, in the morning also they had made Saif Ali Khan walk so that they can understand his movements, his walking postures, and later on they also asserted that he is recovering well. However, it will take a week's time for the wound to get healed overall. In the entire manner, what we also see is that 48 hours more that Saif Ali Khan has to stay here, and keen check would be done by the panel of doctors who were checking him since day one, and the doctors also asserted that after 2 days they would be in a better position to make his family also understand if Saif can go out of the hospital or not. But yes, 48 hours more for Saif Ali Khan to stay inside Lilavati hospital. But the fortunate piece of news is he's recovering well. It's just his wound part that will take some more time because of the leakage of the spinal fluid that had happened. To avoid infection, he's going to stay there for 2 more days. Back to you.
Right. Thank you so much for giving us those details, Shweta. In fact, we must remind our viewers, even the doctors have said that Saif Ali Khan has been extremely fortunate, considering how close that entire stabbing was to his spine. In fact, just few millimeters further, and it could have been extremely challenging. Abhishek Avasthi joins us right now. Abhishek, you are outside Saif Ali Khan's residence. What are the scenes outside? But more importantly, Abhishek, I want to ask you this question. It's been almost 36 hours since this attack on Saif Ali Khan, and the attacker is still on the run.
Pressure is mounting on Mumbai police and they are doing the investigation and interrogation simultaneously. And what I want to try here and understand is that the first account of the auto rickshaw driver that Rucha brought to us exclusively, I would like to show you how it all turned out. If you allow me few minutes, this is the main gate, and what the auto rickshaw driver has said at around 2:30 was right coming. He And after making the U-turn, this was the gate from where Taimur as well as Saif Ali Khan and accompanied by one of the staff, and this was the route that they followed. This is where from we are reporting, and this around 2:45 to 3:15 AM is what the auto rickshaw driver is making a point out there. And he also mentioned the fact that he was soaked in the pool of blood, and this is where the exact spot from where he was taken by the auto rickshaw, and he made a U-turn from here, and it was for around 5 to 7 minutes where he reached Lilavati hospital. And definitely doctors have said that he walked inside as a lion. As far as investigation is concerned, definitely pressure is mounting on Mumbai police. They have the CCTV of going out, coming in, but they don't know where he went. And at the same time, after getting ascertained that this is the accused, but what is taking more long for Mumbai police to nab him is a big question. And a competent police authority is taking a long time is a big question at this given point of time. But at the same time, whether Saif Ali Khan will be allowed to give the statement, that will also be a crucial point that Mumbai police is waiting at this given point of time. And lastly, no one has been detained or arrested till now. Interrogation, investigation still continues. Back to you.
All right, Abhishek, thank you very much for giving us those details. My colleagues on the ground bringing us all the details from every aspect that people would want to know about Saif Ali Khan and how this crime really unfolded, how he's recovering. I'm also being joined at this point by PK Jain, who's a former additional DGP for Maharashtra, as well as Professor Dr. Sudhir Kumar, who's a senior consultant neurologist, Institute of Neurosciences, Apollo Hospitals. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us and for your time and patience. Well, first, let me just come straight to you, Professor Dr. Sudhir Kumar. One, of course, this is a crime and it needs to be dealt in a sense of that, but there's also recovery that's happening. And look at the words of what the doctors seem to have said today, that he's extremely fortunate. How close it was. If it was few millimeters further, it could have affected his spine. In fact, the attack or the stabbing was on his spine as well. Could you just give us a sense of how serious has this been for Saif Ali Khan?
Yeah, thank you. So basically what we know so far is that this blade or the metallic object that you're showing on the screen, so it was pierced in the thoracic spine. So if you look at the spine, it has basically three parts. Cervical is the neck, and then middle part is called thoracic, and the lower part is called lumbar. So this injury was in the thoracic spine. Now spine, it has the vertebral column, that is the bone, and then inside that is the main spinal cord. So what we have heard from the doctors is that the injury was to the bony element, the bony part, and also around the spinal cord, we have the spinal fluid, what is called a CSF. So there is injury to the covering of the CSF, so there is leakage of the spinal fluid also. And as the Dr. Nitin correctly told, that if just few millimeters further, the spinal cord could have got damaged. And when the spinal cord gets damaged in the thoracic area, it can lead to devastating complications like paralysis of both the legs, complete numbness. It can also involve autonomic functions like bladder control, bowel control, and sexual functions. So definitely he's very lucky that that did not happen. And as of now, definitely he has done better. Surgeons did a great job and removed the object from his spine. But still there is a small risk of infection, because when there is a leakage of CSF, from the same, the injury, same gap, the infection can get in. So he needs to be, kept very safe so that infection doesn't happen. And regarding, so far the surgical part, everything, and the injury, definitely they are all good news. But, there are some things lacking, which could have gone wrong also in this. So the first, most obvious thing is the mode of transportation. The way the actor was transported from his residence to the hospital in an auto, in a sitting position, definitely that is not ideal, because if somebody has a spine injury, and he is in sitting position, it can lead to instability of the spine, and anything wrong could have gone on. But luckily, he is safe. But that is not something ideal. Second thing is, the doctor told he was like a lion and walked into the hospital. Definitely, that walking or standing also is very, very dangerous in a person who has a spine injury. He should be on a stretcher. So a lot of things are lacking, and
But
whatever should not have been done.
Professor Sudhir Kumar, while I understand medically you are raising these questions, but I also, and PK Jain, please bear with me, sir, for just 2-3 minutes. I'll just come to you right after this. Professor Sudhir Kumar, while you make medically very important points, I want to ask you another perspective to what you just said. Yes, medically, it was dangerous for him to be brought in an auto rickshaw, you are saying. To walking in like a lion is not the best option. But remember, at the end of the day, he's also a father. He also has his 7-8-year-old son with him. So it's not, I'm sure his safety is on his mind, getting medical treatment is on his mind, but he's also modeling a behavior. It's just a second skin for any parent.
No, that's totally true. I understand all that, but whether in a posh area of Mumbai, is it that difficult to get an ambulance or get a paramedic? Because any accident or any eventuality like this, it can happen anywhere, and we need first response, the medical response team to be ready. So is it that difficult to get a medical an ambulance with a paramedic? I'm sure 10 to 15 minutes would have passed from the time of injury till the auto was obtained. But that is a matter of investigation. But what I feel is that here everything went
Okay,
right,
sure.
like a filmy style, but anything could have gone wrong also. So let us not forget that. So in future cases, this should not become the norm, that if somebody gets injured in the spine, let us call an auto and then make him sit in the auto and let the patient walk to the hospital. That is not the ideal. That's what I'm trying to say. Here everything has gone correctly. And I'm thankful to
Okay.
that, to his family, to Saif, and also all his
Okay,
fans
I
and
get your
followers.
perspective
It's a
as
great news.
a doctor as well. We don't know what the circumstances were for Saif Ali Khan and his family to do what they did. Could have been their first response, considering they also had 2 children in that household. But thank you. I totally understand what you are saying as a medical practitioner, and very important points of caution as well. PK Jain, if I can get you in for a very important perspective, high-profile case, as high as it can get, and 36 hours since the attempt at life, to put it very, very mildly, and you still have the attacker on the run.
Sneha, it is extremely difficult to put a timeline to the arrest of the accused. The accused apparently, as I understand and as I learn, is not on the police record. Maybe he has stayed off the record for various reasons. Either he's not from Mumbai, he comes from outside, operates here and goes back for whatever reasons. So that means we are dealing with an unknown commodity. We only have his face. I'm sure that the media is publicizing is showing his face repeatedly. Somewhere or the other, the clue will come as to where this guy is hiding. So I'm sure that the police will sooner or later. It may take time, but it is very difficult to put a timeline to this. So investigation is going on. The police is taking it very seriously. In fact, much more seriously than probably a common man would have taken. Would have been taken in the case of a common man. So let's have some faith in the machinery. They will crack the case. I'm very sure of it. And his accomplices, as I have been repeatedly saying, this cannot be a one-man job. There has to be somebody from the inside. The police will break that also. So I'm quite hopeful. Going by my experience, I think they're fairly on the right track. Sneha.
Sure. I mean, there's no lack of faith as such, but I think the questions that need to be asked, PK Jain. One question that I have to also ask you is, why do you think it's taking such a long time? Because, obviously one thing that comes to everybody's mind is he's a history sheeter. He has a record in the past. He should have been under the scan, and we discussed this earlier as well. And this is a high-profile case. And in a case like this, where 36 hours, more than 37 hours, in fact, as we speak, have passed since the attack, is this a usual time? Is this far long? Because there seems to be no details about the attacker as well out, except for, these CCTV footage and the fact that he's a history sheeter or so on and so forth.
Sneha, I had spoken to a couple of senior officers. I have been told that the person is unknown. Nobody knows him in the building. The initial investigation shows that This is probably for the first
see.
time that the police have seen him. So to deal with a person like this, and he also knows that he's on the radar. He also must have watched the news. It has been so extensively covered since the incident has taken place. So he also must have gone into hiding. It is very usual for the suspect to lie low for some time in such cases. But as I said, the long arm of the law and the long arm of the investigator will certainly reach him. The time is very difficult to put a timeline. I'm just, it is a oblique reference. Now, Deshmukh, Sarpanch Deshmukh's murder, one of the murderers is absconding for the last more than a month. It's such a high-profile case in which everybody is taking it seriously, right from the chief minister down to the investigator. There's an SIT. Yet, for 1 month, the guy has been absconding. So it becomes very difficult many a times. Despite our best efforts, we cannot catch the culprit in the short time frame that people expect us to perform in. So in this case also, if the guy is into hiding, I'm sure that some clues will come. He will be caught for certain. If the Mumbai police can crack a case like Baba Siddiqui's murder, like the people who shot at Salman Khan's balcony, out of nowhere, there was no clue at all whatsoever. Yet they were able to crack the case. They were able to track the accused. They could come up with a story plausible and with backed by facts. If the police could do that, I'm sure this is a much smaller case as compared to those, and sooner or later the accused will be caught.
All right.
Sneha.
Okay, Professor Dr. Sudhir Kumar, just my last question to you, possibly a minute before we have to end this discussion. Doctor, for the fans, for people who are looking at what possibly may be the future for Saif Ali Khan, we're being told possibly in 2-3 days he should be discharged, but how complicated it is going to be the next few days? How much of a wait and watch complication is it really going to be in terms of how soon can Saif Ali Khan return to a sense of normalcy?
I think the good news we have heard from Dr. Nitin, who performed surgery. So definitely his nerves and spinal cord has not been injured. And so that's a great news. And we don't expect any kind of complication, neurologically in him. Only we have to keep a watch on the infection, which in the next 24 to 48 hours. And I think for that, he'll be kept in the hospital. But we expect that in a day or two, he should be ready to get discharged and maybe he can take rest at home. So, and he's totally out of danger, and we can expect good news very soon in the next couple of days.
Right, I'm sure that's much of a cheer for the fans who have been praying for him, and the rest of the India who's really been looking at very carefully of how things have unfolded, and foremost the family, of course. Thank you very much, Dr. Sudhir Kumar, for joining us. PK Jain also, who was a while ago with us. Thank you to him as well. Time for a very short break. On the other side, it's raining freebies, this time in Delhi.